As the head of creative of SoulPancake, there's been some things that I've learned in this 11-year journey. One of them is how powerful it is when you know what your mission is and you can speak to it. It enables people to kind of join your initiative. So getting really clear on why it is you're creating, like on the why, is so crucial. And I think that there was this question about like art for art's sake. And of course, like if you're compelled to create, create. But if you can kind of step out of it all and think about why it matters to you, that will come through. That is something that you can infuse the art with. And I really believe that is what makes something more sticky, more compelling, when the why is really clear. I often wish people paid more attention to the details. Again, I think it goes back to that natural tension between creating an output, between the process of creation and the process of actually getting it out into the world to be received, which is, ultimately why we're doing the work. If we're just doing it to keep it in our library of content for ourselves, that's one thing. But if you're actually doing it as a service, if you're doing it because you want it to reach people, I think that part of that is knowing when to say, like, it's good enough. A good story, well told, can change the world. The reality is, if there is ever a way to get people thinking differently, storytelling is such a beautiful medium for that, because you can take someone on an emotional journey. You can take something that someone might have no idea about and inform and educate, but also do that in a way that's really compelling and really entertaining. We're creating a piece right now, actually, for the National Domestic Workers Alliance around domestic workers and how hard it has been, the whole COVID-19 thing on their industry, because so many of them have lost their form of income, and they are often the main breadwinners of their families. And I think this is one of those subject matters that you might not be aware of until you see a piece of content that is illuminating that subject matter for you, and not only raising your awareness of it, but then giving you something that you can do. Another example I can give of content that we created and designed that led to real-world impact was a partnership we did around the homework gap. So we created this piece of content that really illustrated what the homework gap was, and we did it through the stakes of kind of a rivalry between two different groups of students in front of an audience of their moms. So this content was designed specifically so that you would watch it and suddenly feel this aha moment of realizing there is a problem right now in our country, and then leave you with a sense of what you can do to contribute to be a part of the solution. I think what's really exciting about where we are at right now in the history of filmmaking, storytelling, creating content, is that more and more brands, agencies, networks care about purpose and purpose-driven content. It's become almost a catchphrase. So I think that, again, what you need to do is make sure that the content really is authentic to your DNA. SoulPancake has always been about hope and inspiration and human connection. We're not suddenly creating content focused on these tentpole ideas just because it's trendy to do that during the time of COVID-19. It's always been a part of our fabric of our blueprint. Art is feeling something, activism is doing something. So I guess the key is, what do you want people to do? And how can you make them feel something about that? And when the two come together, it's really fulfilling. I genuinely enjoy this part of my job. It's the hardest part of what I do, which is taking, these larger than life issues, these really systemic problems in our world, and figuring out, what do I want someone to feel about this issue and what action do I want them to take? If you have something to say and you believe you're the one that needs to say it, and you're using the vehicle of storytelling to get that message across, then go with it. Trust that the audience will come. Those people that need to hear what you're talking to, what you're giving voice to, will find their way to you. The key is that it cannot just be a one and done type deal. For us, and what we found at SoulPancake is that consistency was key. So we had to develop a steady drumbeat of content, and an audience rallied around that. They understood that if they were ambassadors, they were sort of came along the journey with our brand of SoulPancake, that regularly they would be fed content that got them thinking deeper about their own existences, about what the world means, about how to navigate through the world. And so for us, that sort of steady drumbeat was so crucial. I think finding not only your why, but how you're going to express your why. What is the main takeaway you want people to have after having an experience with your content? What do you want them walking away feeling? I don't think any of this work can really happen alone, and getting a shorthand with people that understand the aesthetic, the voice, the tone, what you're trying to do. I think it's so important to have a team that you can consult with, and people can share their feelings, and you can talk openly and have less attachment to your ego and your ideas, but more of a shared desire to make the work great.